But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Let me tell you about my great God.
Hey guys, Pastor Tim here. Hope you're ready to get your day started off in God's Word. We are in Judges chapter 14, and last chapter we talked about Samson's godly heritage and his parents and them seeking the Lord and how they should raise Samson. And today we see Samson defy that godly heritage, and it's all rooted in one main thing. The main thing that stood out to me from this chapter, and all of Samson's sin and selfishness and pride is all rooted in this, and it's that phrase he tells his dad. So what happens at this chapter, it begins with Samson. He goes over to the land of the Philistines, a place he probably isn't supposed to go, and he sees a woman there, and she's pretty, she looks good, and he's like, you know what, I want her. It's not even like I want to marry her. He's just like, I just want her, like as a possession almost. So it's definitely not a healthy longing whatsoever. And so he goes to his parents and he tells them, hey, there's a woman in the land of Timnath that pleases me well. Get her for me to wife. So he's telling her parents to make the arrangements so that he can marry her. And of course, like we said last chapter, his parents, godly heritage. Of course, they're like, no, why no, that's not what's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to take a wife from the enemies of Israel. All right, these are the Philistines. They're oppressing us. We're in servitude to them at this moment. Why are you trying to look for a wife from the enemy? And he pretty much defies his parents. And here's the main thing for me from this chapter, and it kind of encapsulates everything that's happened in the book of Judges up until now, why there always is this cycle of Judges, and that's that Samson tells him, get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. All right, Samson was seeking only to do that which was right in his own eyes. He didn't care about what God said. He didn't care about what his parents said. He only cared about what he wanted. He was following his flesh and his flesh alone, and this caused him to sin against God, sin against his parents, sin against the Nazirite vow that he had, because we see that in this chapter as well. And the reason I put that at the beginning as our main point is because everything that happens afterward, it's all rooted in that attitude of, this pleases me. All right, this glorifies God. No, this pleases me. And especially teenagers, if you're watching today, from my youth group or from anywhere else, understand when you start living with that attitude, you definitely are not going to glorify God in anything you do. In fact, it's only going to lead you astray from God. It's only going to lead you down a path that leads ultimately to defeat. And you'll see the patterns as we see in this chapter. You only want to please yourself. It's going to cause you to defy your godly authorities. In this case, for Samson, his parents, he says, I don't care what you have to say. She pleases me. I want to marry her. So he pretty much forces his parents to arrange this marriage with the Philistine woman from Timnath. And it goes on when on his journeys to and fro to see this woman, a lion attacks him, and God, despite his sin, strengthens him, and he kills the lion. And when he kills the lion, we know in the Nazirite vow he's not supposed to touch a dead thing. And you may be like, well, was it dead when he killed it? Like, is that like maybe a gray area? Well, it doesn't matter, because he comes back later after he's been dead for a while, seeing that there's now bees and honey inside the carcass of the lion, and he touches it anyway to get the honey because it pleases him well and he wanted to eat it. Once again, just following that mindset, that attitude, and it just leads to sin after sin, and it goes beyond this chapter. All right, we won't cover every little thing that happens in this chapter, but as far as the marriage, it was never completed. All right, we see Samson obviously treated his soon-to-be wife very lovingly. I'm being sarcastic. That was not the point. He, in fact, calls her a heifer at some point in this chapter, and he wants nothing to do with her after she gives away the answer to his riddle. So he's just toying with the Philistines and stuff, and he proposes this riddle, and when they threaten to burn down his soon-to-be wife's family and house, she begs him for the answer to the riddle. He gives it, and then when he finds out they tricked him by using her, he gets angry, and then he actually does his job, and he fights against the Philistines and kills, I believe, 30 men, it says in that chapter, that day. So it's a sad thing that it takes all these trickery and events to happen for Samson to eventually get up and do his job as judge. And it's solely for selfish reasons. It's not because he wants to avenge Israel. It's not because he wants to serve God, it's because he's mad because he's losing out on 30 garments and 30 sheets because these people tricked his wife into giving him the answer to the riddle. And this selfishness, this self-centeredness, we'll see throughout the next couple chapters as well. That's it. That's all I got for today's chapter. Really, the marriage with the woman actually was never even completed. She's given away to, as the Bible even puts in this case, Samson's friend. And we'll find out what happens with Samson as we go on. But main point again, guys, we see a lot of Samson's troubles and a lot of troubles that we face as Christians in our life as well happens when we have the same attitude of Samson, and that is, you know what? I'm going to do that which is right in my own eyes. That pleaseth me well, instead of thinking, does this glorify God? Hope you guys have a great day. I hope you tell somebody about your great God, what you got out of his word. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.